Hey there, girlfriend. Ingafay here. Super excited to be here with you today. I am a confidence coach and beauty enthusiast. And in today's video, I have the opportunity to share with you one of my coaching girlfriends, Dr. Tara Salay. She is a physical therapist and yoga instructor, and she uses yoga to help people with their chronic pain and mental health issues. She loves how yoga combines the physical and mental aspects that are so important in healing, and loves teaching people about the amazing healing effects that happens when you work on your mind, your body, and your spirit, as well as your soul. So without further ado, I'm so excited to share with you my girlfriend, Tara. I'll see you inside. Well, hey there, girlfriend.
Hi.
Hey, Tara, how are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, super excited to have you here, girl. So tell us a little bit about you, who you serve, how you serve them, and,
Sure.
what you do for them.
Yeah, so I specialize in helping people to use yoga to really work on like their entire being, mind, body, soul. And in terms of like who specifically I help, I do a lot of work with people who are dealing with chronic pain, helping them heal on a deeper level, and then also helping people heal with mental health issues. So just like a little background on like how, because I'm also a physical therapist, like how I kind of got into this path. I was treating as a PT for about like 5 years, and I saw a lot of people who had chronic pain, and there was a percentage of people who would improve with physical therapy, but just like weren't getting to the quality of life that they really wanted to. And I felt like they needed to, work a little bit more on, say, like the mind aspect, the energy, go a little bit deeper than what physical therapy was offering or what, traditional medical practices were offering. Not that those can't help. I totally support those and they do help, but sometimes I think you do need to go deeper. So I did my yoga teacher training to help this population, and it ended up being so transformational for me personally in some mental health issues I was dealing with. It's really helped me in improving my self-confidence, my self-love, and it's really just changed my life. So now I just want to share it with everyone, and that's how I got to where I am today.
Awesome. So how long have you been teaching yoga?
About 2 years I've been teaching. I've practiced yoga for, now I gotta do math. I mean, I've probably been practicing for 12 to 13 years, but I feel like I did get the benefits from it, but it wasn't until I did my teacher training that I realized how much deeper this practice can go than just working on the physical body. But yeah, to answer your question, about 2 years I've been teaching.
Awesome. So I'm curious, how can yoga help in terms of confidence?
Okay. Yeah. So I think the first thing for everyone to understand is that yoga is so much more than just working on your physical body. While that is a great part of a yoga practice, it's not the only thing. So a lot of times in the Western world, we think of yoga as vinyasa. So going through different yoga poses and working on, say, using yoga as an exercise, which you can do, but it also is amazing at helping work on your mental health, the mind, and also working on, like you were saying in the intro, working on the soul, the spirit, so our energy. And I think when you think about self-confidence, I think we all kind of understand that, yes, maybe our physical appearance can play a role into that, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. If our mind isn't feeling good, are we really going to feel confident even though we're feeling good about our physical body? It kind of needs to be a combination of all of these things. And yoga is a really great way to help get your mind in a good spot, working on the mental health. And then in terms of our energy, a lot of times we don't think about this other part of us. So we're not just the mind, we're not just the body, we're made up of something else as well. And the way I describe this is, say, our energy, our presence, what we bring into this world. And you can work with your energy in a yoga practice. And there's actually a specific energy center called your solar plexus. And this is the energy center that gives us that that personal power. And that's where our confidence can come from. So there's actually specific things in yoga that you can do to work on this energy center. So that can help you to increase your confidence from the inside out. And that's kind of how I like to describe it.
Awesome. So I know everyone knows that I'm all about self-love. So when you think of self-love, how can yoga help you with that?
Sure. So kind of how yoga is helping with our confidence. Yoga is really working on, again, your entire being. It's working on mind, body, soul. So I think self-love is when you're able to love all parts of your being, right? So it's not just loving your physical body. It's not just loving your mind. It's loving your entire being and seeing that it's all connected, and being able to love who you are and love who you are in this human experience, and understanding that everything is connected. And yoga really helps you start to see that connection. And then also kind of how with the confidence aspect, how there's a specific energy center that works on our personal power, our confidence. There's also a specific energy center that's going to help us to generate the self-love and love for everything in the universe. So that's going to be our heart center. So when you're doing a yoga practice, you can do specific postures. Even if you're doing more of a flow and exercise-based practice, you could do specific postures that will help to open this energy center and help facilitate and increase that self-love. So things that are going to be like heart openers for anyone who has practiced yoga, opening through the chest, can be really good at helping increase the self-love and helping you to, increase the energy in this area.
Wow. Okay. So when it comes to yoga, I know there's several different types. What would be the best types to work on for these areas that you're describing, like the confidence and the self-love?
Yeah. So there are many avenues of yoga that you can practice. And it kind of depends like what you're wanting to work on, or like, I guess, like how you're feeling. So if you're feeling like you're in more of, say, like this like sluggish type state, and you need to like, say, increase the energy to increase the confidence, a more physical based practice might be good for you. So that's like vinyasa yoga, the power yoga, like going through different yoga poses may be really good for you. If you feel like your self-love or your confidence is affected by, say, you're feeling really, really stressed all the time or anxious or things like that, you might want more of a grounding type yoga practice, something a little bit more relaxing that's going to help you ground and calm. So that would be more like your yin yoga, your restorative yoga. So restorative yoga is more relaxing. You use a lot of props to support your body. So it's more of a relaxing type yoga. But I think for any of these things, meditation can be a really great tool as well to use, because that's really just going to tap into all parts. So through meditation, even though it seems like you're just sitting there with your eyes closed, it's still helping your physical body, it's helping your mind. And it's important to know that meditation is actually a really huge part of yoga. So yoga, like if you look back at when yoga originated, no one was really doing like yoga poses. They weren't doing tree pose and like, warrior poses. They really were meditating, and that was what yoga was all about. So it's a really powerful tool just to like, tap into your highest self and to, help feel that self-love and to feel that personal power, that confidence.
So with that said, do you see yoga as exercise or like you said, like meditation, like mind body work?
It can be either. And, even though I'm talking about this mind body work, like, I don't think that you can't use yoga for exercise. Like, I think most people in this Western world get into yoga in the first place because you're going to do it for exercise, and that's fine. Like, you're like, okay, well, whatever it is, you want to strengthen your core, or maybe you just want to work on your flexibility. And that's fine, because that's introducing you to this amazing practice. And I use yoga in both ways for myself personally. So you can use it for exercise for sure. And when you use it for exercise, you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 anyway, because when you go through these yoga classes, even if they're more exercise based, yoga teachers structure them very mindfully in a way to also be working on the energy of the body and working on that mind body connection. So it could be used for both. Yes.
So with that said, how often should you do it on a weekly basis? I mean, you hear things when it comes to exercise, you need to do some kind of cardio so many times a week, and you need to do some type of strength training or resistance training. With you saying what you basically said, it sounds like it could potentially be like a strength type of training if it's more physical, and then maybe even flexibility type of training. But even with that said, regardless of what the, I guess, focus is based on the yoga instructor, which is going to be different on each case, how often should it be done?
So if you're doing more of a physical based practice, if you're working on strengthening, stretching, you do want to give your body rest days. So that's really true for any form of exercise, even if you're doing weight training, cardio. Like, you're not going to lift weights every single day because you would never give time for your muscles to recover. So it's the same if you're doing a physical based yoga practice. You need time for those muscles to recover. So when you're just starting out, even starting out, if you aren't exercising at all, doing 2 to 3 days a week may be good, and giving yourself a day in between each. Or, as you progress, you can do exercise based yoga 4 to 5 times a week. I still say give yourself like those 2 days of recovery. One thing to note is you're not wanting to work on the same muscles each time you're doing it, which I know could be a little bit hard in a yoga flow, but you kind of as you practice, you'll be more in tune to your body and know when you need rest. But yes, you need rest days. But with that said, when I, my own personal clients, when we're using yoga to work on that healing aspect from whatever we're dealing with, I have my clients do some form of yoga every day. So when I say that, that means say meditation or breath work, because you can meditate every day. You could do breath work every day. So, to really dive in and work on those healing aspects, we're doing something every day, even if it's 5 minutes of meditation. But in terms of physical based practices, yes, you definitely need those rest days in there.
And then with that said, how do you incorporate if you're doing other exercise activities with yoga?
So I could use myself as an example because I actually do a lot of weight training for my own exercise. So I tend to, I'm trying to think what my own schedule is. I'll do say 3 days of weight training, and then I'll do 2 days of a more physical based yoga practice. And then if I wanted to do a more movement based yoga practice, but I was doing other exercise already that day, like weight training, cardio, something like that, I might do more of a low key yoga flow, working on more flexibility, mobility, as opposed to strengthening. So you could kind of add it in that way. But yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
So I know you said initially that if somebody was just starting out, that you would recommend that they do maybe 2 to 3 times a week.
Especially if it's something new. So you want to gradually introduce your body to these things. It's kind of the same thing. If you were going to start running and you never run, you're not a runner, are you going to go out and run 4 miles on your first run? No. So you got to slowly, introduce it to your body and see how your body feels. So you don't need to jump in okay, I'm going to be doing physical practices 5 days a week. Give yourself time to adjust. So I think even 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and giving yourself those rest days is a really good way to introduce it to your body, and also not make it so overwhelming. Because I think if you take on too much at once, it's harder to stick with going down the road. So it's not that you can't increase the frequency as you go, but give yourself some grace, start slow.
I'm all about those bite-sized wins. We all need
exactly.
Yeah, we go in gun-ho like so many people do in January. You know how that goes. They get caught up real quick, they don't want to do it, especially if it's something they're not used to doing. So it's very important to take those little bite-sized pieces, have those small wins, and that's what's going to fuel you to continue to do it, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree.
For sure. So when it comes to yoga and taking yoga classes, what is a good way to find a class other than just Googling it and finding something like that? Is there any tips you could give people to kind of look for when searching for a new yoga class or even a yoga instructor? So if you want to do more of the vinyasa style, which is probably what a lot of you think about when you think about yoga, so going through different yoga poses, I definitely would start with a beginner's class, because if you just take any class, it's not that you couldn't do it for your body. I mean, everyone's different, so maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. But what happens is a lot of times it moves fast. So if you don't know the poses, it could be hard to keep up with it. So a beginner's class is going to go through all those basic poses, your downward dog, things like that, and take you through the form of it, make sure you're really knowing how to get into the pose. So I think that's a good kind of place to start if you're searching, or if you have a yoga studio, take that beginner's class. Even if you're someone who is, say, physically fit, you're already exercising, still take the beginner's class just so you can learn the basics in a vinyasa style. If you're doing more of that restorative type class, so that more relaxation, using a lot of props,
the level won't matter so much because it's a kind of slower paced class anyway. So it's going to like guide you through and give you the time to really get into the poses. So yeah, that's kind of my suggestion there. And also, oh, you were asking about like the teacher. And I think just trying out different teachers and seeing like who like resonates with you, because you want to like, you know, you want to kind of like who's teaching you this practice. And like some teachers might resonate with you and some don't, and that's fine. So just finding who you like to practice with.
Yeah, I used to teach aerobics.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I taught aerobics for years. So I do know that you have to find your right instructor. I mean, you're going to have to find someone that really syncs with you.
Exactly. You'll be more motivated to show up then if you
like because you know, oh, so-and-so is teaching today. So I am going because she is just so good. Yeah. Yes, for sure. So I wanted to ask you, do you have any final thoughts before we talk about your freebie that you wanted to share with my audience?
I think if you are someone who maybe just thinks you can't do yoga because you're not flexible enough, so you can't do vinyasa yoga, or you think I can't sit and quiet my thoughts, so you can't do a meditation practice, try to start to break those limiting beliefs, because one, in terms of I'm not flexible enough to do yoga or vinyasa yoga. Vinyasa yoga is working on improving your flexibility and mobility, and you do not need to be flexible to be able to do it. There's many ways to make the poses work for your body. So you don't need to like have super flexible like hamstrings or whatever to be able to do yoga, which I actually filmed this week. This is like a side note because I just filmed like a yoga flow for like super tight hamstrings. So I made my husband, he was like my like student, and we did it that way to show you that you know, you don't need to be flexible to be able to do yoga. And in terms of like the meditation, saying, okay, I can't sit there and quiet my thoughts. No one can sit there, close their eyes and quiet their thoughts right away. And even the most experienced people who meditate, I would say, I don't know, but I'm going to guess, they don't just sit there and all of a sudden their thoughts are gone. It takes them time to get into that meditative state. So don't let that hold you back from trying a meditation practice. You know, it's okay. Just accept it. So when you have thoughts that do end up coming up while you meditate, you just bring your attention back to your breath, and it's okay. And as you practice more, it'll get easier and you'll have less thoughts. So, you know, I think those are two common like limiting beliefs that hold people back from doing yoga or like meditation. So that's kind of what came to mind.
Thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about your freebie. I know you have a freebie for us, and I'll show everybody the link. Go ahead and share.
Sure. So I have a freebie. So basically it's a 7-day yoga experience. So it gives you 7 different types of yoga each day you get a different type of yoga. So you can see what you like, because maybe you don't really care for practicing vinyasa, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing in a yoga practice that you'll enjoy or that will resonate with you. So this is a really good way just to get an idea of what's out there in terms of yoga. So in that week, I'm trying to think now, I might get the order wrong. I think the first day is like a power yoga flow. So that's more workout based. You get a meditation, so you can see what that's like. You get like a slower flow vinyasa class, and then we do breath work. The next day we do mantra meditation. So that's like repeating a phrase over and over to get into a meditative state. That way there's restorative yoga in there. And then the last video is actually talking about how yoga practice is more about really incorporating these yoga principles into your everyday life. So you get that as well. So it really just gives you an idea of what's out there, what's available in yoga. Obviously there's even more than that, but it just gives you an idea of what's out there so you can find what resonates with you, what you like, and what maybe you want to practice.
And then for those of you that are just interested in just maybe connecting with Tara, I'm going to also show her website here. And I guess you can tell them a little bit about what's here on your website.
Sure. So I have a blog on there. So in that blog, we obviously talk about yoga on there, but I also talk a lot about, I do use my physical therapy background and talk about things on my blog in there. So we're talking about, different common injuries, talking about exercising the body. So, that's a good resource that you could learn more about. My offerings are on there, like how you could work with me as well. That's kind of the gist of what you'll get on my website.
Cool. So we have these two websites. I'll definitely put them down in the description below. So if for whatever reason you didn't get a chance to write it down, you can just kind of cut and paste and just look in the description. You can get the freebie website here. This is the freebie one, the bit.ly link. And then if you want to learn more about Tara and find out more about her blog, you can check this out as well. So as always, we so appreciate you guys watching. Tara, thank you again for your wealth of knowledge. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.